Hello everyone, this is Dragon Veils. I hope y'all are doing well. Welcome back to my channel, and once again I'm going to go over a Helluva Boss. This time around I'm going to talk about the most loved characters in the Helluva Boss franchise. It is pretty interesting to see of how much they've grown on us over time since they first debuted into the series, as well as just explore why they're being loved in the first place. And bear in mind, these are just my opinions alone. I know there are some people who may not like some of these characters I have on this list, but also beware of some spoilers. Without further ado, let's begin. The reason why I put B in number 10 on this list is mostly just the lack of screen time she had out of all the characters in this show. But she isn't without some of her reasons why she's a loved character. She's very bubbly and friendly, and is a pretty good hostess most of the time. She's very concerned when Blitz finally goes on to a drinking rampage after the fallout in episode 7, and even was practically saying time out to the whole situation and wanted Luna to go collect Blitz before things get really out of hand. And then, of course, when it came to Mastermind, she was one of the other two sins aside from Ozzy, who was the only voice of reason and wanted Blitz to be heard out. She wanted and respected Blitz to have, in some ways, some sort of freedom. So, she is someone who considers her hellhounds and imps, to a certain degree, to be considered as equals, to an extent. While we don't know the full backstory of how that came to be, one thing is clear that B is one of the more likable sins next to Lucifer and Ozzy, which I will talk about later. Now, with our beloved sin of lust, Ozzy definitely is someone we definitely were in a shocker for. When he was introduced in season 1, I thought he was gonna be the villain, or one of the villains in the show. But thankfully that wasn't the case. He does seem to be a promising ally, even going as far as being one of the more reasonable masterminds in the episode Mastermind. But at the same time, there seems to be a limit to how it's handled in the Kangaroo Court Justice of Hell. On top of that, he was the only one who was not above saying time out when the relationship is considered a very unpleasant one. He is someone who wants lust to be viewed in the same level as love, and doesn't exactly want that sort of stuff to be performed in artificial ways like that of love potions. So you could imagine how much he favors Velvet and Valentino. Putting that aside, he does have a very loving and healthy relationship with Viscerali, and shows legit concern for him. The only reason why I put him so early on this list alongside B is just mostly the lack of screen time. He does show that he is one of the best boyfriends in Helluva Boss. It's just, I can't wait to see of what season 3 will have to offer for him. And hopefully we can get some backstory about their relationship. Now, with Stryker, it definitely feels like a mixed for us a lot, mostly because of a change in season 2. But one of the things to like about him is the fact that he is definitely a ruthless killer, and a very unapologetic one at that. He's not above betraying his own kind in hopes of just getting back at Blitz and Fizz for what has happened to him in the explosion. And he does have a very interesting backstory, that's for sure. But we just don't know of why he has such a vendetta. While his popularity wasn't as big as it was in season 1, I still feel like it might be made up in season 3, where we still need to learn a lot about his past. His thirst for vengeance and hatred from Vogowisha is probably the thing that seems to be the most intriguing, that's for sure. So, I'm not gonna lie, Octavia's placement on this list was a very difficult one to do, along with her father, which I will get to later. But the reason why she's just up here is because it isn't that she isn't a huge brat compared to the situation she's in. She's sympathetic enough because she's forced into a situation that's beyond her own control. She's witnessing her parents at their worst, and on top of that, she's housed with her conniving uncle and her mom, both of which show that they're not very pleasant parents at all. But one of the things that make her endearing is the fact of how smart she is. Like, she has encyclopedia knowledge, as well as she does try to think outside of the box, especially when it came to seeing stars, where she literally just wanted to see the stars, but she had to wind up in Hollywood after a fiasco with the grimoire. But to top it all off, she's just a very sweet and vulnerable kid. And when she does have those moments, you can't help but feel like they're so relatable. And again, season 3 is probably going to leave us with a sense of dread of what kind of second hell that she'll go through. Like Asmodeus, Fizzarolli was also a very surprising character that we grew fond of. He's very bubbly and energetic and knows how to bring a party with him, and you do feel bad about his situation with Mammon towards the mid-season special in season 2, and when you learn about his scars, ugh. In a lot of ways, it definitely is pretty crazy of how he went from uncertain to basically being a very given ally that Blitz needed, and a much needed friend too after everything those two have been through. It'll be interesting to see of where his direction is going to go in season 3, but it does feel like, in a lot of ways, he's just very cheerful and upbeat, especially because now that he's free of being a major celebrity, he can go around a bit freely more than he will be able to. That's for sure. Okay, I will not lie. Stolas is probably the most difficult character to put onto this list in terms of placement because, on the one hand, we have a hard time sympathizing with him because of his arrangement with Blitz, as well as some of his choices weren't exactly the best up until now. But on the other hand, when you learn about his past and how his life was, especially when he was married to someone like Stella, your heart kind of bleeds for him at that point. I mean, he has been trying his best to maintain whatever sanity he had when it came to being in a toxic marriage that was never his own choice. He struggled with deciding what's right and what's wrong. It doesn't fully justify what he did, and it can be tough to forgive some of his actions. But when you learn about the reasoning behind it, it does shed a different light onto him. And he definitely comes across as very sincere when he's not too busy trying to play the role of a royal. And he does care about the people that matter to him at all, as well as that he was a decent father up until the whole fiasco of season 2. He wanted to be there for Via. He wanted to put her into his life as much as Blitz, but it was just a struggle for him. Should he have mentioned about the abuse sooner? Maybe, but at the same time, it can be very difficult to talk about, and sometimes that can be very painful to talk about with somebody's kid. And then, of course, with season 3 coming up, it does give me some hope that his character development can be a really good one in terms of helping him overcome some of his obstacles and finally understanding what it is for imps and what they struggle with on a daily basis. Luna is the rough and tumble daughter of Blitz. She's not afraid to speak her mind the majority of the time, though in the first beginning of the series, she definitely came across as unfeeling and almost didn't have any role to play in there, where it was up to the point where we even wondered what sort of role she even bothered having. But as she progressed further in the series, you definitely see that she becomes more of a team player. And when she fights, oh my gosh, she really is one heck of a wild card. She becomes more unfiltered and not afraid to speak her mind. And when you learn about her past, you can't help but feel bad for her. She was in a system that was not very kind to her, and we have yet to learn of what that is. But when she does have her moments of being vulnerable, it just makes you want to give her a hug, which is very rare and in between. There are a good amount of things to like about Millie. She is emotionally supportive to everyone around her. She is strong, and she is an awesome wife to Moxie. She wants nothing more than to protect him from everything around him. And she had an interesting past where she had a mindset similar to that of Strikers, where she was an imp. She had to work with whatever she could in terms of assassinations. However, when Blitz came into her life, she became more than just muscle. She became the emotional anchor that everyone needed, especially Blitz and Moxie the most because they've been through so much. And just having her to have a bit of a normal life up until then definitely means that it helps out balance some of the negative aspects that everyone has gone through. And she does seem to know how to handle things in a certain way, whether it is with muscle or just a recognition when something is off. And she's not afraid to even tell someone like Crimson to buzz off whenever possible. There are a lot of stuff to like about Moxie. You do feel bad because he seems like the unluckiest imp in IMP because he always winds up in some pretty bad situations. But it even gets worse when you learn about his past and how he first joined IMP. He's been in a very abusive situation and he struggles to overcome the need for approval from everyone around him. However, his relationship with Blitz, when later on, is a little bit endearing. He's a very loyal friend to IMP and very devoted in what he does. When he becomes a bit braver, he's not afraid to tell off when the situation calls for it, especially when it came to his abusive dad, which was probably not the most easiest thing to do. When he does have his moments of bravery and fighting back, it is worthwhile. He is very good with long range weaponry, so he can actually aim and strategize. Well, strategize to a certain degree as what Blitz would allow him to do. And sometimes he does act like the voice of reason to the group when it comes to the killings, which can be a bit admirable. I mean, yes, he still has a job, but due to the fact that he has his own moral groundings and limits, it does help IMP kind of reconsider their limitations. Last but not least, Blitz. There's a lot of reasons to like about Blitz. While he starts off as a bit of a bully and sometimes aggravating, but at the same time, when you learn about his past and what he's struggled with, you do find yourself feeling bad for him. He's not afraid to speak his mind, and he's not afraid to tell the others off the way it is. While he isn't a very good strategist, he does care about people. He's just not the kind of person who wears his heart on his sleeves, but when the situation calls for it, or when IMP is in trouble, he does put himself together and manages to figure some way out to some degree. Even going as far as sacrificing himself in season 2 in order to protect everyone from the severe punishments of Hell's evil court. Not only that, but his relationship with Stolas was endearing, going from questionable to actually being there for Stolas. Again, one of the things to like about him is he's not afraid to get real and being serious when the situation calls for it, like he did when Stolas. His crash out was pretty understandable, and it'll be interesting to see of what direction he'll go in season 3, but I feel like he might become more loving later down the line. He still has ways to go, but his character has become a bit more enduring in season 2. So, what do you guys think? Is there a has been or Helluva character that you love? Do a like and subscribe. This is Dragon Video signing off.